and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the Walt Disney Company just cannot seem to help themselves. They will get away with their nonsense and their changing of beloved characters and their pushing of the agenda in any way, shape, or form they can. Except, boys and girls, not only are they doing something that opens up to which will almost guarantee we see our dear sweet Ariel, the Little Mermaid, not only be played most likely by a man, ladies and gentlemen, but they're also going back on their own agenda at the exact same time by changing the gender, changing the race of their Ariel, of their Little Mermaid in the modern era. Because, boys and girls, if you don't remember, there was a disastrous dumpster fire of a flop that was the live-action Little Mermaid, starring the gorgeous and talented Halley Bailey, with just an absolute abysmal script, horrible CGI, ridiculous music, and just ended up being an absolute abysmal failure. Well, for all their virtue signaling and all the pushback they did for calling us all a bunch of racists for not liking the movie, all because it starred a black actress, by the fact of all of the other list of complaints that I just gave you, ladies and gentlemen, the Walt Disney Company is backtracking on that aspect of it, but they're also offering the character up to transgender characters. Disney seeking white transgender actor for lead in the Little Mermaid musical. Now, boys and girls, how is this come for a shocking turn of events? Now, not only are they race swapping their own version of Disney's Bob Iger's Ariel in their Little Mermaid live action remake that bombed absolutely horribly at the box office, now they're deciding to also add transgender into the mix, ladies and gentlemen. How well do we think that's going to go over for their latest musical? Well, we're going to get into this article over here from BelievingAFool.com, get you into all the juicy details, see exactly what is going on here and exactly what this listing post says. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe and or follow if you have not already, because we are grinding, we are growing, we are getting closer and closer to 800, and I could not do that without every single one of you. And make sure if you do enjoy, if you do have some thoughts on this, leave us a comment down below, either in the comment section down below or in the live stream that we've got going on up right now. So, Disney seeking white transgender actor for lead in the Little Mermaid musical by Chris Braley. Now, according to reports by the Walt Disney World News and confirmed by MSN, Disney Hollywood Studios has opened a casting call for upcoming production of The Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, and they are explicitly seeking transgender men and women. The new show, which replaces the former musical voyage of The Little Mermaid, is auditioning for actresses to fill various roles, including both the leads, Ariel and Eric. Yes, boys and girls, not only are we most likely going to get a transgender female, aka a man, to play Ariel, we'll also probably having a woman playing Eric. Boy, I can't wait for the headlines and the glee out of all of the weirdos out there in California about how exciting they are to feel represented in Eric and Ariel in a live-action musical production out there in Hollywood. Boy, can't we wait. Oddly, the cast listing specifies that Ariel should be white. Well, now that's awful racist, now isn't it? What's wrong with the modern version of Ariel, Disney? Is maybe it not selling so many toys? Or maybe so many people not being able to relate to the character because it's not who they knew or what they grew up with. And maybe it confuses some of the little children out there. I wonder why. Now remember, boys and girls, this would not be the first time we've had a transgender person playing a character. Now, we never got an actual confirmation on it, but there was an evil queen out there at Walt Disney World that awfully suspiciously sounded a lot like a transgender, i.e. a man pretending to be a woman. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? So, Ariel should be a white female or transgender woman, while Eric shall be a white male or transgender man. Now, right there, let's hold off all of the crazies and the commenters who may or may not find this video. I hope they do. Well, it doesn't say they're specifically asking for a transgender person, but after all of the exposés we've seen from, I don't know, the expose of the not-so-secret agenda, or all of the requirements, all of the check boxes, all of the quotas that the Walt Disney Company imposes on itself inside of its own hiring practices, who do we think's going to get a higher priority on the hiring list? A straight male, well, just a white male, or a white female, or a white transgender, or a white transgender? Methinks, knowing that it's Disney and knowing it's California, I think I know what they're going to expose your children to out there in Disney, California, ladies and gentlemen. The show is set to debut this fall at the Animation Courtyard Theater in Disney's Hollywood Studios, featuring songs from the original film, as well as additional tunes not included in the live-action remake, like Kiss the Girl and Daughters of Triton. Did anyone spot the irony? Kiss the Girl and Daughters of Triton? I wonder if all of the rest of Ariel's sisters casting is also open to males who feel pretty that want to wear lovely little seashell bras and a long mermaid tail. Boy, I bet you just can't wait to expose your children to that kind of nonsense. Now can you? The listing for Ariel reads 18 to 30 years old, white woman, transgender, 5'2 to 5'6". A spirited, fun-loving, yet curious mermaid princess who longs to be part of a human world. Lyrical pop soprano with belt to C. And for Eric, it leads 18 to 30-year-old, white man, transgender, 5'10 to 6 foot, charismatic and fearless. Prince Eric is a true romantic who never gives up on his heart's desires. Non-singing role. Interesting. The real question is a pop soprano with belt to C. That might be kind of hard to find in a transgender, a man pretending to be a woman. Now, obviously, it might have happened, but I think methinks they might actually end up being stuck with a woman for this one, if the musical requirements actually matter more than the transgender representation. How do you think that way is going to go? And of course, did we forget live action remake already? While Disney opening up auditions to transgender performers should surprise no one, given the full-throated promotion of gender identity and all that matters of DEI, what I guess I find most shocking is the casting explicitly white actors for the role. Is this an indicative that Halley Bailey's portrayal of the undersea songstress is no longer considered canon? Or is this their way of deflecting recent revelations and allegations that the company has been discriminating against white employees? Social media was quick to make light of that particular casting approach. And if anybody hasn't known, go check out OMG Media and all of the exposés they've had with Disney insiders. This one is great. This one from Jada. I wish to make Ariel a white again. The monkey's paw right there, of course, the Simpsons episode. Tazru says this is the ultimate effed up monkey paw scenario. Gotta love that. Disney, so you don't want a race swapping? Fans, yes, don't. Disney, fine. But there's a catch. Yes, we get a transgender instead. It's Disney. Ignore them. Stop spending money on them. Absolutely. Little Mermaid, a musical adventure, is expected to debut this fall at Disney Hollywood Studios. A first look at some of the new puppets was shared online earlier this year. Well, what about the first look at the new casting? That's what I'm excited and interesting to see. What are we going to see? Are we going to see a Ariel, big, fat, hairy-chested man in a red wig with a little seashells over his chest and a long tail, singing out his heart's desire to all of your little children out there, all of your little boys and girls out there at Hollywood Studios and Disney? I have no idea. Truth be told, probably not. It's one of them situations where I have no idea what they're going to do with this. I mean, it's California, after all. This isn't Disney, Florida. This is Disney, California. Ladies and gentlemen, we've already seen them, had one of their fairy helpers out there helping dress up your little girl and help her find princess dresses, be a very, very obvious man with a mustache that honestly looked a little creepy, and I'd probably keep him away from school zones and my children. But of course, those are generally the kind of people that take those kind of roles and want to get close to children. I mean, how many times have we seen Disney employees in Florida have a giant bust and a bunch of them get exposed and prosecuted for not so nice things involving kids? So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the problem when they open up this kind of stuff to these kind of things, these kind of people with mental disorders. That's what this is. And Disney, for all of its virtue signaling and nonsense, is absolutely a danger into their children. They try to hide it under the guise of acceptability and progress. At the end of the day, it's exposing your children to things that they don't need to see, they don't need to know about, and they certainly don't need to be influenced by in any way, shape, or form. But that's what Disney is all about in the modern era. Their agenda trumps absolutely everything else. So yes, technically the cast is open to an actual biological female and an actual biological male. But ladies and gentlemen, this is modern Disney. This is not the Walt's company anymore. This is the Iger company now. And we know it's full agenda, full speed ahead all of the time. And in anywhere they think they can get away with it. And boys and girls, if Disneyland California isn't the place they think they can get away with it, well, I've definitely got a bridge to sell you and some oceanfront property in Arizona that I think you'd find real nice.